Hey guys, Hellfire Mike here. And today we're asking the question, can you beat Fallout 4 as Cooper Howard, aka the Ghoul from Fallout on Prime? Alright, so first step first, obviously we have to be a ghoul and also have his iconic outfit and revolver. Luckily for us, there is two Creation Club creations that will help us do exactly that. There's the Ghoulified creation and the Bounty Hunter creation, which has his outfit and his revolver. But before we get that bounty hunter gear, we're gonna try and stick to pistols, revolvers, cowboy action weapons, so shots like sawed-off shotguns, lever actions, that kind of stuff. Once we do get our hands on that revolver, though, I'm going to try to primarily to stick to just that revolver. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started into the special stats, which we are basing off of the Ghoul from Fallout Shelter's special stats. We're gonna get as close as we can, and then our first few level ups are gonna be getting those special stats down, as that's really the only actual representation of what Cooper's special stats are that we have access to. All right, with starting character creation out of the way, we're going to go ahead down to Sanctuary being our first stop, as it is Fallout 4 after all. We're going to go ahead and use the special book and assign that point to intelligence just to help us level up quicker and get closer to those stats that we're looking for. For this challenge, we will allow ourselves to have one follower, and that is going to be dog meat. As it is shown several times in the show, that Cooper's got a soft spot for dogs, and he does allow dog meat to travel with him for a while. So we're not heading straight to Concord to save Preston right away. We're going to explore the surrounding area a little bit, take out some ghouls, kill some enemies, gather some XP, because we do need to be level 10 before the ghoul quest will let us start it. All right, after taking out some ghouls and exploring for a little bit, we do head to Concord to save Preston, as the Minutemen are ultimately going to be who we side with in the end. My justifications for that are I think Cooper would hate the Institute because they remind him so much of Vault Tech that he would not want to do anything with them. He's a ghoul. Elder Maxon's brother to Steel obviously hates ghouls. The railroad would not help him find his family in any way. They really have nothing useful for him to try and find his family. But I think the Minutemen, a faction that controls an entire state essentially and has a lot of resources of people traveling around, would probably be his most selfish reasoning for signing them. Is they would probably most likely help him find his wife and his daughter. We tear through the raiders inside, and then we go ahead and grab that perception bobblehead, which gets our perception up to where we want it to be. And then we're going to go ahead and get in that T-45, something Cooper would feel pretty comfortable with as his time in Anchorage. Use that minigun. We're going to delete all of the raiders and the death claws pretty easily. Not a real challenge here for Cooper. This is pretty light work, honestly. All right. So after listening to Preston yap, we do join the Minutemen. And on the way to Diamond City, we are going to try and pick up a few quests just to make things easier for us on the end side of things once we get to the end of the game. One thing I want to point out here, we run into a Mr. Gutsy like right off the rip. I'm level 3, but luckily for us, this Mr. Gutsy decides to take the easy way out and just blow itself up. So that works out pretty well for us. After I run with Mr. Gutsy, I decide to go after Boomer and clear out Outpost Sojima. Once he whiffs his one mini nuke shot, we take him out pretty easily. After clearing out Outpost Sojima, we do walk past the General Atomics Galleria, which is like one of my favorite locations in Fallout 4. But I tell myself we need to get to Diamond City and become a ghoul and finish this quest up. So I say, hey, we'll come back to this. Spoiler, I never came back. After we leave the Atomic Galleria, I run into what I want to say is probably my worst string of luck I have ever had while trying to get to Diamond City. Which I feel like is pretty fitting. Cooper doesn't seem to be a very lucky guy. He's gotten screwed over quite a few times. We run into a Rad Scorpion, and then after that Rad Scorpion, we run into a Sentry Bot. And after that Sentry Bot, we run into the random encounter of all the Sanctuary Hills ghouls. After running away from them, I run away into the Cambridge Crater, which is also full of ghouls. It was a unlucky time. After fleeing from the ghouls with our lives, we run into the Diamond City guards fighting the super mutants outside. Normally I help these guys out, but I realize I have 20 shots, and Cooper's kind of actually selfish, so we leave him to do what they get paid for. After our brave tactical retreat, we run into Piper yelling at the speaker outside of Diamond City, and as someone who has done playthroughs of Fallouts 1,000 times, I don't want to hear this anymore, so I try something new. Apparently, if you just hit Piper, it ends all the dialogue and immediately opens up the gate to Diamond City. Very interesting that Bethesda put in a feature where you hit a woman and she stops talking. I wonder what they meant by this. After we get into Diamond City, we turn right and we find this sweet bounty hunter poster. It's got this cool little animation in it when you pick it up. And that gives you the quest to head down to the Sunken Speakeasy, which is where the bounty hunter headquarters is. Check my Pip I assumed it was gonna be in Diamond City, so I checked my Pip-Boy to see where it is, and of course, it's in the, part of the map of Fallout 4 that's meant for, like, really high level stuff, so this should be fun. At this time of recording, I also didn't know that the Ghoul quest doesn't spawn unless you're level 10, so looking around for that a little bit before I decide to head back to Sanctuary Hills to use Fallout 4's greatest leveling up method. After becoming the Commonwealth's greatest carpenter, I then head back to Diamond City, and now that I'm level 10, the quest I Fall to Pieces starts, which is the quest you need to become a ghoul. So I head over to the Diamond City bounty board, pick up the bounty there. It talks about the Boston Radiotherapy Center. That's where we're going to head for the ghoul quest. Luckily, it's actually not too far from us, so we'll head straight there. Unlike our journey to Diamond City, the journey to the East Boston Therapy Clinic is pretty uneventful. The worst thing is I get inside of there, there's a glowing one I have to deal with, and like a horror movie, he gets trapped inside of the elevator with me. Luckily, both of his arms are broken, so this actually works out pretty well for me, and I am able to put him down. After clearing out the ghouls and collecting the serum that turns you into a ghoul, you look yourself in the mirror and it opens up a character creation screen, which you can pick your new ghoul character. I just gotta say, this is a really cool, well done creation. This is really neat being able to be a ghoul. It changes gameplay and stuff like that as well. I go through the presets and I find one that looks close to Cooper. I'm not a great character creator, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. That's step one of playing as the ghoul complete, just becoming the ghoul. Next, we gotta get his gear, so I make a trip to the Sunken Speakeasy, which, despite being in a really high level area, I'm able to kind of squeeze my way past all of the enemies. And I join the Bounty Hunter Guild, or I get quests to join the Bounty Hunter Guild. I have to go collect a finger from this guy before they let me join, so that is our next move. Do want to say I'm severely underleveled, underequipped for this quest, so after getting my head blown schmoove off, I do manage to get the bounty target by kind of ratting my way by standing on the stairs and shooting him, and crouching whenever he would take a shot. I collect his finger, his minigun, which I'm just going to sell, and then I just take everything else off of his body. And then, much like with the sentry bot and the ghouls earlier, I just run away. So I am not going to be able to beat the rest of these raiders. One cool thing about the ghoul feature is radiation heals you, which is pretty neat. So we make our way back to the bounty place. We tell him we've successfully killed the raider Skinner, and he tells us to turn this finger in, but he gives us access to step 2 of our plan, which is getting a hold of the ghoul's revolver. Does a sweet little animation here. And then getting a hold of course, the ghoul's iconic outfit, which he has been wearing for 200 years. Very stinky. But it does a sweet animation when you put that on as well. Again, these mods, Creation Club controversies aside, everything that's in them is actually really freaking sweet. So now that we've completed both our steps, we can finish off the rest of the game. We got the whole appearance going down. We are a ghoul, and we have his gun, and we have his drip. So now we can really start actually playing as the ghoul. Before we get into the main quest, I do want to finish off all the bounty hunting content, just because the ghoul is known to be a bounty hunter. So I feel like this fits in well with his storyline, and also it's just this is fun, and I like this creation club. So talk to the main leader of the bounty hunters. We head over to this board, and it's got a couple bounties for us to go off after. Again, each one has a really cool animation of you like checking it out. The first one we're going to go for, just because it's the closest to us, is going to be Arthur the Super Mutant. And then pretty quickly after leaving the Sunken Speakeasy, we get a good chance to test out our new gear on a behemoth. This gear is not good enough to go after the behemoth, and I am quickly humbled. So the next time around, I avoid him entirely. After avoiding the behemoth, we then make our way to where Arthur the Super Mutant is. He's got a few of his compatriots waiting for us outside. Luckily, we take out like 5 of them with one Super Mutant Suicider, which is awesome. And then another Super Mutant Suicider comes after us. We take him out. And then another Super Mutant Suicider comes after us. We take him out, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're in the clear now. And then another Super Mutant Suicider comes out, and we take him out. That is the most I think I've seen in one area ever. So we make our way through them pretty easily, though. And then we get inside of the building, and we can take Arthur on ourselves. Arthur's pretty tough. He does take quite a few rounds from the rocket revolver to go down. His dog, not so much. we take some drugs and then blow his dog away pretty easily. But unsurprisingly, in the end, the rocket launching Sabo revolver beats the mutant with a sledgehammer. So once we take Arthur out here, we'll go ahead and collect his bounty, and then we'll move on to our next. After Arthur, our next bounty is in the glowing sea, which is actually perfect for us since we're playing as a ghoul. Radiation is positive for us. It helps us glow and it heals us. So this was actually probably the easiest time I've ever had going through the glowing sea while as a ghoul, which is again a really fun, neat thing from the Creation Club. So our next bounty is a Brotherhood of Steel knight, who seems to be minding his own business when we pull up on him. We blow his head schmoove off and kill his eyebot. Later, you find out his only crime is that he was a synth, and that's why the Brotherhood of Steel wanted him gone. So, after bringing the Brotherhood of Steel Knight to justice for being a synth, our next bounty is Ned and Kelly, which are just some raiders who are holed up with a bunch of other raiders. And this is where the revolver really starts to shine. Now that I'm back in an area that's more my level, I definitely got it way earlier than I was supposed to, which is why I struggled so much. But now that I have it, it pretty much one shots everything that I come across. So, as you imagine, this goes pretty well, and we collect the bounty pretty easily after blowing off 20 people's heads. After the Raiders, the last one left is to go after a gunner lieutenant. Needless to say, this one gave me a lot of issues. The funniest death was this one part where I got done in like John Marston by this line of gunners. After a few deaths, I do manage to get the gunner lieutenant down and collect their finger, turning in all the main bounties. Returning to the sunken speakeasy after returning all the bounties, the leader of the bounty hunters asked me to join him in hunting down an ex-member of theirs, Texas Red. We obviously agree. They get some loot and some money. After looking at a picture of Texas Red's ugly mug, looks oddly similar to us. We head to the glowing sea, and just like all the other bounties, we kill him. After toying around and completing the bounty hunter quest line, it is time to lock in and go ahead and go back to doing the main story quest line, which you're going to need to claim quite a lot more settlements for the Minutemen. So I start off with going back and clearing out Corvega, which was really fun to do with this type of gameplay. Immediately after locking in, I get sidetracked by the quest where you can hijack a drug trade. As a ghoul, you need to take drugs to maintain your level of feralness, and by doing this, you get 50 of every major drug if you just do the bad ending, which is super easy to justify. Cooper is very selfish and would definitely do this to keep himself from going feral.
What's that? Gotcha.
Alright, after all this mucking around, I finally get to the castle and clean out the crabs. The Mirelux was pretty easy to do with the rocket launching revolver. And after destroying all of her kids, Mother Mirelux decides to show up and immediately gets dispatched very quickly. It's probably a good time to mention that the unique revolver that Texas Red drops has a special ability that every headshot you get, its damage goes up, which is why I did half of the Mirelux Queen's health in one shot. Get a headshot her with every shot. After clearing out the castle, we go ahead and decide to rescue Nick Valentine. And to no one's surprise, the dudes who are just wearing suits and pretending to be mobsters get annihilated by the revolver that launches rockets.
Doing? You come into my house, shoot up my guys? You have any idea how much this is? Break a sweat.
After tracking him down with dog meat, we then confront Kellogg and immediately blow his head schmoove off. After dealing with Kellogg, we go ahead and head back to Nick Valentine, head to Good Neighbor, do the whole in Kellogg's brain dream sequence, which is really cool the first time around. I'm not going to show it because it's just so boring now to anyone who has played through this game more than once. We head to the glowing sea, take out a Deathclaw, and yap with Virgil, and then we go right after the Courser. We take care of the Courser and all of his gunner hostages pretty easily, collect the Courser chip, return back to Sturgis, collect the materials to build the teleporter, and then we teleport into the Institute. We deal with Father, much how I imagined Cooper wishes he dealt with all of the Vault-Tec representatives who stole his family from him. After assassinating the Institute's leadership, we head back to the castle to take out Sarge and get the artillery blueprints to further progress the main Minuteman line. Right after we build the artillery, the quest starts where the Institute attacks the castle, which is pretty fair. We did just show up into their home and blow the head off of their leader for the past 60 years. This quest was really hard. I ran out of ammo for everything, and at the very end, I was resorted to punching the synths until they died. After beating the last synth to death with our bare hands, we are informed by Preston that Sturgis has figured out a way into the Institute, so we fast travel back to Sanctuary Hills, talk to Sturgis, and then Sturgis informs us that the secret entrance to the most advanced faction in all of Fallout so far, but the very least in the Commonwealth, is an unguarded like sewage system. You can just walk in. Like the Institute didn't really have they have a few synths there guarding it and like a couple turrets, but it's just kind of open to anyone, which I feel like is like the laziest way that Bethesda could have put to get in there. But regardless, we get in. After breaking in to the Institute through their sewage tunnel, we use their teleporter to teleport in the Minutemen's invasion force, which includes Sturgis, Preston, and 2 random Minutemen. We then fight through the Institute's pathetic defense force, which again, why is this area just open? Like, I get you have synths and stuff in here is protecting it, but you guys make synthetic human beings and you didn't think to just, like, I don't know, fill the entrance up? I mean, there's literally a hatch that just leads to where they do bioscience. This seems like a huge flaw. Now, despite their horrible defensive planning, I gotta give the Institute credit. They do have synthetic gorillas, which is pretty badass. I love gorillas, and if I was in the Institute, I would definitely be the dude who would try and convince his bosses we need to spend our resources on making fake gorillas. After sadly having to take out the synthetic gorillas, we do move on to taking out the rest of the Institute's defenses, which at least these synths got armor and stuff, but yeah, I think they just planned on no one ever being able to get in here. We do make sure to take out every threat, though, and I mean every threat. Those scientists, they're armed combatants. He was reaching. I saw it. She was as well.
Throw at him.
No! Get up! Get up!
I also just want to mention that the Institute just never cleaned up Father's body. It's just laying here dead in his room still, which is really funny to me. After fighting our way through the last of the Institute's defenders, we sabotaged their reactor, which is super easy to do as a ghoul because it gives off a ton of radiation, so it was actually healing me like crazy, which was awesome. After all that, we're teleported outside of the Institute by Sturges with a wonderful view on top of the mass fusion building where we can finally flip the switch and destroy the Institute once and for all. Soon after, the end credits begin to roll, thus proving, without a shadow of a doubt, you can beat Fallout 4 as the ghoul from Fallout on Prime. I never really had any doubt that this would be possible. The hardest part was the beginning, just getting to the gear and the revolver. But this is actually a really fun way to play through the game, guys. I know a lot of people don't like the Creation Club, but if you've got a few bucks to spare, get the ghoulified one, get the bounty hunter, combine them, make a really cool agility build, and just have fun blasting your way through raiders for the rest of the game. This will be a really fun way to do a full playthrough. And thank you so much for watching. And this should be just about Christmas time. So Merry Christmas, everyone, and we'll see you next time.